Let's talk about why this is happening. So we have the story from the New York Post. Jon Stewart's new show on Apple TV is reportedly a flop. Well, what happened? Jon Stewart got woke, went broke. Look at Bill Maher. Bill Maher has been resisting and trying to pull back, but still pretty much playing the establishment game. But he's been calling out wokeness, and he's sort of maintained an audience. He's also never retired. Jon Stewart tried to make a comeback. Smack talks white people, and the problem with white people gets panned for it. And you know what I think? I think most of you watching used to watch Jon Stewart. I used to watch Jon Stewart. Now I see him come back, get woke, go broke. So let's talk about this. We were just talking about libs of TikTok. What is libs of TikTok? Well, the reality is it was an aggregator. It was a lens that was aggregating the woke left, the insane things they say and do, and presenting them in a feed. This was a powerful tool in the culture war, showing regular people what was going on. It resulted in outrage among parents. It resulted in potentially in laws getting passed. Now, why would they try to target the individual and try and destroy their lives? Because wokeness is not popular and it cannot win without brute force trying to destroy. When Jon Stewart tries to get woke, it fails. That's what they say, get woke, go broke, right? So they have to, like, this is the funny thing. If someone is showing people what woke people are like, they have to shut it down. They're like, no, don't. Well, because people are mocking it. But Jon Stewart's version of being woke was meant to be a serious, prominent personality trying to get you to believe in woke things, and it's not working.
No, I remember one of the first things he came out against was calling Harry Potter anti-Semitic. And then he went on this whole sort of like retconning of that, where he actually went in and had them change the video title on the YouTube card in order to, because it originally said
that's right, the
anti-Semitism,
goblins.
right, the goblins, anti-Semitism in Harry Potter, and then he changed it to just anti-Semitic tropes. And he said, no, I wasn't saying that Harry Potter was anti-Semitic. I was just saying that these tropes show up inside of Harry Potter. See, it's totally different. So it's like,
right. Well,
it's like he doesn't know how to be woke, basically.
He's saying the wizard himself character is not.
He called. He's like, I think he's a great wizard. I'd even say a grand wizard, that Harry Potter. But I wasn't calling him racist in any way.
Oh my God.
I think there's kind of been a lot of Jon Stewart worship for some bizarre reason over the past couple of years, and I think that's because when comparing him to John Oliver or Trevor Noah, he's significantly less funny. But I've heard a lot of people say things like, when Jon Stewart was the person making informational left-wing comedy, it was all fantastic. But I got to be honest, he very much did the clown nose on, clown nose off thing that we've sometimes complained about. I remember he was getting into an argument with Tucker Carlson a couple years ago, and it was on Crossfire. That's right, and it was a viral clip, and he's going on about all this misinformation Carlson is spreading, and Tucker says, well, you've spread a lot of misinformation on your show, and his response is, it's a comedy show. And I'm sorry, but when you're presenting yourself as a comedy show that spreads information to help keep people informed, you don't get to fall back on, I was just kidding, when you get the facts wrong.
So we did an episode about a year ago when Luke was here, and he and I got into it over this, Jon Stewart. If you guys remember that. You weren't here that night, but I think you three were. Oh, yeah. And I was essentially making this argument, and Luke was saying, but he had on Ron Paul, he needed some of these other things. And I said, look, no, he was the leading edge of that. Mm-hmm. He was always the leading edge of the weaponization of comedy, and now it's gone far beyond the seeds that he initially sowed in those years.
I can agree. You know, I think it's silly to look back and try to romanticize the era of Jon Stewart, but he praised Project Veritas. And this is a really good example of, at the bare minimum, of how things were different. He mocked James O'Keefe for wearing a silly outfit, but that's fine. You know, he was taking jabs at James for dressing up the way he did. And it was actually like the normal clothes James was wearing. I forgot what he said. But what did he call it? I don't know. But he basically was like, journalists, where are you? How are you getting scooped by these guys? Which is, you know, he showed the Acorn reporting legitimately, like, look at this. And he didn't call James O'Keefe a liar. He didn't say it was deceptively edited. He said, wow, look what these guys accomplished. At the very least, you have that. Now we're in the media age where Trump gets not a single good day, where everything James O'Keefe does is deceptively edited.
But has Jon Stewart done that lately?
Well, no. Jon Stewart
has he shared a Project Veritas?
He was retired for several years.
He
comes back now, woke and broke. Not literally broke, figuratively broke.
Yeah, my point is, he's that leading edge. He's still that leading edge.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say, I know you were going to say something, but I just want to drop this in there first before we potentially shift to something else. It's not to say that Jon Stewart's been wrong about everything he's ever done or everything he's ever said. It's just that, like you said, he was on the leading edge of all of this. And whenever somebody comes out and says something even remotely sensible, conservatives go, "Oh, this guy gets it. He's great. He's our guy now."
Conservatives need to stop doing that.
Yeah, it's really frustrating.
Stop. Bill Maher.
Yeah, I was going to bring up when Stewart went on the
Jack Dorsey.
What is it? The Tonight Show with Stephen Colbert. Is that he does a Tonight Show now? And was talking about the coronavirus and the Wuhan laboratory of bat coronaviruses across the street from the market where they told us they found the bat coronavirus.
The Hershey,
that was like
chocolate
the most
spill.
Sensible, aware, normal human observation. I was like, good. Jon Stewart's still
which
normal.
We all had within like 1 week or even 1 day of hearing about the Wuhan lab. We said, oh, there's a coronavirus right across the street from a virus factory.
I know. It's hysterical that saying that it's possible that the virus that originated right outside of a virus factory, it was insane to say maybe that came from the virus factory, and it was sensible to say that it mutated in a bat and then someone ate the soup at a wet market, and that's how it all happened.
Exactly.
Now, when Jon Stewart came out, semi out of retirement, disheveled and on Colbert, saying all of these things, we were like, Jon Stewart's back. He's going to call out the media for being dumb. And then what did he do? Got up on his show and said, the problem with white people.
Right.
And we were like, oh, here we go.
The anti-Semitism of Harry Potter.
What happened? I've never heard him use that language before.
I'll tell you what. Here's what I think. Bill Maher on his show, he saw the tides because he was sitting in it. He saw people tweeting him. He probably talked to people and they were like, dude, you're getting these things wrong. And he was like, but those are conservative things. And they're like, listen. And he probably went, So Bill Maher, I think, is trying to play both sides. Call out the woke because the woke goes too far, but don't actually entertain the fact the left is so far gone that Bill Maher is conservative by today's, like if they call me a conservative, Bill Maher is to the right of me on a bunch of things. But I think Bill Maher recognized that. And so he's like, I'm going to call out the woke a little bit. Jon Stewart comes back from his semi-retirement and he's like, okay, what am I doing? And they're like, here's what's happening if you want to be a liberal guy. And he went, I'll just say whatever I have to say to be relevant. And so he was like, okay, what's that? People don't like white people. Let's do a show about it. And then sure enough, it turns out people actually don't like any of that stuff. They don't like what Jon Stewart's presenting on. I think a really good example to understand the blue checks are wrong and crazy is that when the mask mandate was ended, all these videos emerge of people celebrating.
Right.
There's a video of a flight attendant singing and dancing with a garbage bag because everyone they're throwing their masks in. And I'm like, everybody hated that. Except for blue check mark journalists who are like, you should sue Delta if they make you take your mask off.
If you go in on the tweet about the DC Metro has taken it off, but then a buddy of mine who rides it pretty regularly says they don't really enforce it anyway. He said he was on it once and somebody wasn't wearing it. And then someone said something to like the Metro guy who was on there and said, hey, this guy doesn't have his mask on. The Metro guy was like, I'm not a cop, man. What do you want me to do? I said, well, neither are the flight attendants, right? And also, it wasn't a law to begin with. But if you go and look at the tweet from the DC Metro, and Marina Medvin had posted this, and she was screenshotting all the quote tweets over the DC Metro rescinding the mask mandate. And all they're saying, by the way, is it's optional, right? It's optional to wear, which, by the way, if you go to Asia, China, South Korea, Japan, mask wearing, if you're sick, is pretty normal. It's pretty normalized. It's always been around, certainly since they dealt with SARS and avian flu and some of the other things. But with this one, people were freaking out. And then G Prime had a really good tweet this morning about it where he said, just imagine, if you will, you're mid-flight in a flying coffin.
Oh my gosh, yeah, did you see?
The voice comes over the intercom. They start taking the masks off.
That guy who
and now
said,
you're being spreaded by the plague. And the worst thing of all,
the guy
smiling.
The guy who tweeted, what did he tweet? That I was on a plane with their masks off. And this is MAGA Air or something like that.
Oh my God,
this is MAGA airspace.
Yes, and then a journalist reached out to him.
From the New York Times.
Yep.
It was like, can you tell me about your experience? He's like, well, it was satire, but something only a journalist would have believed.
Right.
I saw that.
Hope she wins a Pulitzer.
That G Prime image of the plane. I didn't know who it was or what it was, and I thought, oh, this is some whacked out journalist that hates the mandates were lifted. I was like, wow, this is trash propaganda. And then I saw the name, and my entire perception of the image changed. So at some point, maybe we should put satire above things that are satire.
You're starting to sound like Snopes.
I thought if his name wasn't on that, I would have thought it was some some more like somebody that hated the lifting the requirements and wanted masks.
Look, I gotta say, you need to be training. You need to be putting on speed. These people will chase you 5 or 6 at a time. You might have to run away from them screaming. If you go anywhere near a Whole Foods, if you go anywhere near a supermarket, airports, they congregate in these spaces, Ian. I'm telling you, they will swarm. And if 2 or 3 of them scurry away from you, right, when they see you unmasked in the aisle, keep up your situational awareness, maintain your guard and your psychic defenses at all times, because they could be returning with numbers.
Okay.
Frightening people. No,
Let's
I got to
talk
be
about-
honest. Hold on. The G Prime. I thought the G Prime comic was hysterical. He's been
So
on this
good.
kick where he tries to create these like very intentionally banal left-wing comics. His whole idea is he's trying to like get into the head of a New York Times cartoonist, and they're really funny. He does a very good job
The
with
problem
them.
I'm having with satire, and this is why I disliked Stephen Colbert for so long with his old show, his satire show, is that there's so much lying going on right now in the universe that I need honesty, and I can't. If the people I trust start saying things that aren't true just for an effect, I gotta disengage. I can't listen to that stuff or respect it.
Interesting.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. But if you want to check out the full show live, tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And if you want more special access content, head over to timcast.com and become a member. Your membership helps sustain this company, keep our journalists employed, makes this show happen, and you will get access to exclusive members-only segments of the Timcast IRL podcast, and there's a massive library to check out. So again, go to timcast.com or tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., and we'll see you all there.